Hello, welcome to MUTV on Facebook Live. I hope everyone's having a good night. Me and Quinn just watched we were at the game covering Missouri's 31-13 loss against South Carolina. Quinn will be joining me shortly. He's just working with some technical stuff, and we are just going to go over the game and analyze Mizzou's first loss of the season against their first SEC opponent. How you doing, Quinn?
I'm good. I'm
You're
good. The game was a little rough.
Yeah.
But not much you can do about it.
Yeah, I thought the weather was fine. I mean, it was kind of warm.
Beautiful. Oh, it was gorgeous out.
But at nighttime it was nice. It was nice.
Gorgeous football weather. I thought Missouri started the game off really well.
Mm-hmm.
They moved downfield really well. Their defense actually made some stops. They went up 10-0
After the first quarter. I mean,
yeah.
that's pretty good for Missouri standards after giving up so many points to Missouri State. It was like 40 something or 50 something.
Yeah, 43, 42 points.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, they lost this time, and it was still like 31 points in the end. But they definitely, they seemed a little better, at least holding kind of South Carolina to field goals, especially in like the South Carolina, their first attempt at points. They drove down all the way down the field, but Missouri somehow held them to a field goal, and then they missed the field goal.
They missed the field goal.
And Missouri fans were feeling great at that point, but it all went wrong after the.
Well, is literally 3 plays.
Yeah.
3 plays, and it went from being 10-0 to 14-10 in South Carolina's favor, and it was that score we scored on that touchdown. Faroe was going crazy.
Yeah.
We were up 10-0. No, I mean, I don't think many people saw that coming. And then we kick it off in Debo Samuel, 97-yard kickoff return. Holy cow. Then we get the ball back.
Yep.
And next play, Drew throws the interception.
Yeah.
And then South Carolina's next play, Debo Samuel again with a run.
That was Debo Samuel too?
Yeah, it was Debo Samuel again.
Was it? I guess so. Yeah.
And then it was a 25-yard run, I think, for the touchdown. Just like that, like Mizzou's down.
Yeah, and you could really feel it in the crowd. I mean, they were like just crazy. They were loud, and then just very quiet for like an entire quarter in the second quarter. And
I think that was when you knew Mizzou was going to lose the game. Was when at that point, literally Faroe went from going absolutely nuts to complete silence for, like you said, an entire quarter.
Yeah. It was strange, this game. I felt like Missouri or South Carolina, they didn't feel like they won this game. They more of just capitalized on Missouri's mistakes, and they lost the game. I mean, the 2 interceptions by Drew Lock, as well as Demarie Crockett getting hurt in the first half, who had a really good first half, getting 18. He had 18 attempts for 97 yards.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good for a running back, and especially Drew Lock needs the help. And we were doing pretty well in the first half, but it kind of all came crumbling down in the second.
Yeah. For the viewers at home, Demarie Crockett left. I think he didn't play in the second half because of a bruised tailbone. I haven't heard how long he's going to be out. It might be day-to-day. But I think that was the game-changing moment. When he went out, Mizzou's offense really struggled. You could tell South Carolina was playing the pass defense.
Yeah. Mizzou became a more one-dimensional team, and South Carolina kind of going through that rough beginning, kind of figured things out, and I felt like they knew how to stop Missouri. And Barry Odom, he didn't really have a plan B.
No, exactly. He didn't. I think South Carolina's defense played really well. Props to them. They said, run. We don't care. You can run. We're not going to let Drew Lock beat us over the top. And it worked out in their favor, especially with Crockett out. And Ish Witters, I mean, he's an all right running back.
Yeah, he's average. I wouldn't say he's good enough to play against these big SEC teams.
He did. I mean, he did have 12 attempts for 72 yards. So again, pretty good. 6 yards a carry was his average.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Damari Crockett, I think, is definitely starting running back, and it hurt not having him hit in.
Yeah, I mean, I think more than anything, it was because South Carolina kind of gained that lead. That Missouri, they knew that Missouri had to throw the ball, and it was that point where they were finished.
Yep.
You know, Missouri did have, they had way more yards, or not way more, but they led in like so many categories on offense. They had almost 100 more yards in total offense, more than South Carolina. But there's a stat here, like you can see, Missouri only converted 5 of 14 third downs, and I think that was huge. You can really see that, as well as Missouri's defense couldn't really get off the field for a lot of the time. The time of possession is really striking. 15 more minutes of time possession for South Carolina compared to Missouri with 37 minutes. So in that way, it's kind of like, wow, they got so many yards, but they didn't really do with it anything.
Yeah, they didn't do anything with it. And I think you put it perfectly. Despite the yards, South Carolina didn't win the game. Mizzou lost the game. Mizzou had way too many mental errors from, the 2 interceptions thrown by Drew, and then the muffed punt. When they had the muffed punt, I think they were only down by 12, I believe. The muffed punt, then South Carolina gets it in Mizzou's territory.
I noticed a lot of drop balls. Missed tackles on the defense.
Oh my gosh.
That muffed punt was pretty unlucky. I saw it was, I guess the punt coverage guy was kind of like on his team was kind of like backing up, and they kind of didn't realize they were going to bump it, and he bumped into him, and it came out, and that was pretty unlucky for Missouri. I mean, this really wasn't their game. But I mean, they blocked a field goal. That was, South Carolina's just missed the field goal. So that's pretty lucky. And for once, Tucker McCann didn't really do that bad. I mean, he didn't have that many.
It's all right. He didn't have a whole lot of opportunities.
They only had 13. They had, 2 field goals and a touchdown. So it's not really, and they were very short field goals. So, I mean, Tucker McCann definitely has a lot more to prove. But he wasn't the reason they lost this game.
Oh, no.
For sure.
Not at all. The mistakes. Too many mistakes.
That definitely fell on the receivers and Drew Lock.
So many drop balls.
And, 31 points. I mean, it's sometimes that's a lot to ask. I mean, your defense has to step up. I think, at home, especially.
I do think their defense looked immensely better than it did last week.
Yeah, which is surprising against a better, you'd think a better South Carolina team.
They did look better. They looked much more crisp. Still a lot of missed tackles, but they looked improved, which is really good. But I got a question. What do you think they need to do better for when Purdue comes to town next weekend?
Purdue, well, let's hope Damari Crockett, for their sake, is healthy.
You're right.
He definitely provides more of a running, aspect. He's got, they definitely work better when they have Demarie and Ishwitter, kind of taking separate roles, kind of shifting off kind of a 2-back system. Without both of them there, they definitely struggle. And then Drew Lock, he can't make those stupid turnovers. That's really gonna kill you, especially against tough teams.
And he said it. He said it in the post-game conference too that he wished he had those back and he just threw them away. Dumb throws that were forced. But I'm gonna say what they need to do next week is obviously the defense needs to step it up and continue to improve like they did from last week to this week. But I think they need to become more balanced on offense and less one-dimensional. And I think that will be key for Damari Crockett to return, and they'll be able to do that if he's able to return. But I felt like either Barry tonight was either focused, just ran the ball a lot, or completely passed the ball. He wasn't able to mix in the pass and run plays.
Yeah, I definitely saw the offensive play calling was questionable in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, he definitely seemed to just run the ball a lot, and then when they were down, he was predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
if
that's a
you
good word
want
for
to
it.
win games from like a coaching perspective, you need to be unpredictable. You need to throw in some shifty plays,
Yep.
and especially and also on defense. I saw South Carolina was kind of seeing like the blitz and like they were doing screen plays, they were doing all sorts of plays, and they were getting the key third down conversions.
Yep.
So I'd say Barry was kind of outcoached in this game, and not only his players need to improve, but he does. And I feel like it's a top-down thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to start with Barry, Coach Odom, and and that'll help the rest of the team.
I agree with that. Got anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean against Purdue, it's not an SEC team, which are very. Pretty
Very
much
quick.
every team in the SEC is very decent,
Mm-hmm.
and could probably beat Missouri.
Yeah.
There's not an easy game for Missouri in the SEC.
Yep.
Purdue has won their first 2 games.
They look good.
Yeah.
For coming out, I mean, they weren't supposed to be very good in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they're definitely not one of the top teams in the Big Ten.
Oh, no doubt about it. But they look pretty good, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they will be. I mean, all those Big Ten teams, big, strong, farm boys from the Midwest. I think Mizzou will have the athleticism and the speed, and I think it will come down to whether they will be able to hold their own up front with the big boys from Purdue. It should be interesting to see. It should be a good game. I think.
You got predictions for the game?
I'll say Purdue wins.
Purdue.
I think Purdue will pull
Wow,
it out. I don't
okay.
think
Mm-hmm.
Mizzou's defense is good enough yet.
Wow. Okay.
They still have a lot to improve.
Mhm.
We'll see. It'll be. I think it'll be close. Close game.
That
but
would
I
make
think
it
Purdue wins.
a 0-3 start. And I personally don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think so?
I think this is a must-win game at home. I'm pretty sure they're going on the road afterwards.
They have
or-
Auburn at home. And
Auburn
then,
at home. Yeah, another tough SEC game. They
Yeah,
need to win
yeah.
these games out of conference.
Exactly. They need to win the easy ones.
And yeah, like you said, their defense is starting to improve.
It has.
Each week, and if they can keep building on that, I think Missouri has a very good chance against Purdue. If Demaria Crockett doesn't get hurt, and I mean, bruised tailbone. I mean,
I feel like it's a day-to-day.
it's not a
injury.
broken tailbone.
We don't. I mean.
So if it's just bruised, I mean, he should be able to play the next game. Football players are tough. So
We'll hope so.
yeah. So I personally think Missouri's gonna win it. It's gonna be another high-scoring game. That's
think?
my guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Missouri's offense, 13 points, that's not really good enough. But I think against a Purdue team, they'll at least score 20 points. I'm thinking, and then I'm thinking like a 31-20 game in Missouri's favor.
I like that score.
Do you got any predictions for the score?
I'm not going to throw out a prediction for the score. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Mizzou went from 70. Granted, it was a D2 school, NAI or whatever its division was.
You're talking about Missouri State?
Yeah. So, granted, they went from 70 points offensively to 13 tonight. Like, holy cow! What happened there? And then they gave up 42, 43 points to Missouri State and only gave up 31 tonight. So their defense improved tonight, but their offense was significantly worse. So I have no idea what to expect next week. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I figure Purdue is kind of like in between those, but I'd say they're more towards like a South Carolina. I mean, it's a Big Ten. It's probably, if not, I think it's the best conference outside the SEC.
I think it's better than the SEC.
You think it's better than
this
the
year?
SEC?
I think it's better.
Okay, all right.
than
Yeah,
the
I
SEC.
mean, and I don't think Purdue is a joke. They definitely
A lot of
should
people
not
thought
be
they were going to be.
underestimated.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not in the slightest. Especially with how Mizzou's playing.
Yeah. Missouri's not really getting any breaks right now.
Not at all.
And they're definitely not looking to improve as much as the basketball team is looking to improve this season.
True.
I have much higher hopes for the basketball team.
Yep.
But if that's all,
Yeah, that's all. That's all I have.
yeah, I mean, this has been Max Arnold and Quinn Ritzdorf. This is Facebook Live, and you've been watching MUTV.